Yo, what's up everyone? This is Kaizouwar here. I actually want to talk about Guilty Gear Strive on the Switch. A version I don't have, but a version I actually want to talk about because I've been honestly talking a lot about the Switch version of Guilty Gear Strive. You know, I honestly have no intention of buying it. I don't personally for me, I don't see the purpose of me just buying the game again when I already have it. Unless I want it for the novelty of it, but I don't need it, right? I'm happy to exist. I am never against ports unless they are unless they're terrible ports, and that's just like fault of the company for not optimizing it well. But I think Strive on the Switch is a damn good port. One of the most impossible fighting game ports ever made, because the fact that a Switch fighting game has both rollback and 60 FPS and all the characters put into one, it makes you really think that all the fighting game companies that were porting their damn games over to the Switch and just didn't even give a shit. That's how you know. They didn't care. They just dumped it on there. At least with this port, there was actual effort put into it. But that also comes with a huge problem. So, the version of Guilty Gear Strive for the Switch came out on January 23rd, right? Not that long after that, we got the announcement of the Nintendo Switch 2. And, you know, a lot of people were thinking, well, you know, if Guilty Gear Strive was going to come out on the Switch, why wouldn't I just wait for the Switch 2? And I honestly agree. Now knowing this, now knowing how the version is being treated, I kind of wish they should have waited for the Switch 2, because Guilty Gear Strive would have been a launch title, and that would have put a lot of eyes on it. That would have made so much sense to have Strive on the Switch as a launch title, because not only it would have all the bells and whistles, you know, all the characters that have been released so far, including Season 4, it would have the rollback to 60 FPS, all that junk. It would also have crossplay, which is something that Guilty Gear Strive on the Switch lacks, which I get why there's like weird crossplay implementations on the Switch that just cannot be done, right? I think the only game I'm aware of that does crossplay on the Switch is like, I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel and Minecraft, and there's probably other games out there too that do it. But I'm not knowledgeable enough on the subject to like say this. But I know for a fact that those two games that I mentioned do have crossplay with other platforms and stuff like that. But Strive doesn't, which I get why. But that's already kind of cutting off a lot of people on the onset, where people who want Strive for the Switch want to be able to play around more people, but they're stuck playing only the people on the Nintendo Switch version, which that's a small audience as is. And again, Strive on the Switch is a full price game. Now, you're getting a lot of value for it because you're getting all the characters that have been released so far for it, but at the same time, you're kind of not getting like the full experience. Like hell, even Team of 3, even though it's a mode that people really don't play anymore, Team of 3 is also absent on the Switch because I feel like it'd be just too much to implement. So like, that's kind of a double-edged sword, this port. Like, it's a good port, but it's kind of like missing quite a few things to make it like a good, like the good port on this mobile platform. And on top of that, there's also how the DLC characters are handled, which is still weird to me, right? Okay, so the game actually came out on January 23rd, as I mentioned before. Dizzy didn't come out until February 20th. Now, Dizzy was touted as like, hey, you know, if you buy this version, you get Dizzy for free. Cool. Now, I'm not aware of the game having a separate season pass. I don't know if like all the season 4 characters will be on the game automatically, or you have to buy something separate. I don't have the version myself, but this is what I'm seeing from the outset, right? So Dizzy didn't come out until February 20th for the game, which is almost a month after the game came out, right? So people who are buying Strive for the Switch couldn't even get Dizzy until a month after the fact. Now keep in mind, Dizzy came out on like regular Strive on October 31st. So we basically, and I'm counting, like, I'm putting that next to November, right? So basically November, December, January, February. So basically 4 months after Dizzy came out on all the other platforms, she comes out on the Switch version. Now, it's crazy. And I assume that they're doing a special version of these characters for the Switch for having them run perfectly, because otherwise they could have just put these guys from like the current version of Guilty Gear Strive, like on PS5, PS4, Xbox, Steam, all that crap. They probably would have just done that already, which clearly that doesn't look like what they're doing. But again, I don't know game development. I don't know how these special Arc System Works ports work, because I feel like it just feels weird to make these special versions of these characters for this Switch version, which I feel like they just could have just waited till the Switch 2 came out, which I'm happy the port exists. It's actually a pretty good port. It's just there's so much weird with it, you know? So that's fine. Dizzy's already out, and we're already in the month of May, right? Unica comes out, as of this recording, 10 days from now. And we don't know when she's going to come out, because Venom isn't even out yet, because Venom came out on the 24th of March, right? And he's not even in the Switch version. So it's been 2 months, almost 2 months, since Venom came out on the on the current version of Guilty Gear Strive, but he's not on the Switch version yet, right? And as I mentioned before, Unica is 12 days away from this. So if I'm hoping this video doesn't age poorly. So if Venom doesn't come out yet, then it means Unica's only like a few days away. Then she'll be out. That means both Venom and Unica aren't even out on the Switch version, which is so weird, because that means that specific version is two DLC characters behind, right? Now, Disney being free was a cool consolation prize, but I just feel like the fact that like you have to kind of wait this long for other characters on a version of the game that honestly just could have been delayed until the Switch 2 came out is kind of weird. Now, again, I just don't know why it's being handled like this. I know the Switch is like a completely different ballpark for this. I get it, but I feel like it would just probably been easier just to wait for the Switch 2 to come out, because not only these games would have the characters released side by side, it just would have been easier. It just probably would have been easier because now you have a version of the game on on the Switch 2 that will be on par with the other ones. So you don't have to like make the game be delayed. You have to like delay the DLC characters, because like it's just kind of weird, like it just feels like, why would you do it like this? Like, I mean, I feel like this is something that should have just been planned already. Like, why does the DLC characters have to be delayed so hard? I just don't understand. I don't know how different these versions of these characters are, because I don't have the Switch version myself, so I'm only looking from the outside. But I just don't like how this is being handled, because like that means people who bought the Switch versions are being like screwed. I mean, granted, like they don't have to buy all the other DLC characters like people who bought Strive originally, right? They don't have to buy all the DLC characters again, while people who bought Strive on launch like I did had to buy every season pass as it came out and yada. But with the Switch version, you can get all of that. But like, there's no cross-play, Team of Three's gone. You have to wait for a while for the DLC characters to show up. I just feel like this port might be just a waste, right? Now, I don't think, I guess a waste is probably like a bad way of looking at it. I feel like it just probably could have just been delayed so the Switch 2 came out. Like, again, the port is good, but it just feels like this port should have been released way earlier. Maybe they had complications of getting out faster, because I feel like the way it's being set up, I feel like they might have this thing delayed. Maybe it might have been issues getting all the rollback and the 60 FPS working on Switch. I mean, they did have to take some compromise by reducing the resolution and stuff like that on the backgrounds and stuff. So I totally understand why this version of this, Guilty Gear Strive had to take some hits just to get like the best experience that people could have on it. Plus, again, it has all the characters released up to Season 3. You don't have to buy everyone again, which is great. That is a good incentive to buy this port, including a free DLC character. That's awesome. But it comes at the cost of, again, no crossplay. It comes at the cost of like a dwindling player base at that, because a lot of people aren't going to be playing the Switch version of Strive much longer if it just keeps going. Venom isn't even out yet, despite the fact he's been out for almost 2 months right now. Unica is slowly approaching, which means if Venom isn't even out yet, then Unica will also be delayed as well. Don't get me started on Lucy, who's going to be the last character of Season 4. Ranked is coming to Guilty Gear Strive soon, along with frame data, and we don't know if that's even going to be in the Switch version. So there's a lot of unknown factors going into this version, which I just kind of feel like, making this like full price kind of a gimped version of the game that people have already been playing sucks, really. Because I sung the praises of this port. It runs fast. Like, the loading times are insanely fast. Like, the game is really fun to play. Like, it's like, obviously it's Guilty Gear Strive, so it's fun to play. It has rollback and 60 FPS on a Switch, which is damn near impossible for other fighting game ports, let alone just any other game on the damn console, right? A lot of games don't even have that. But at the same time, it's just like, damn, dude. Like, it takes so much just to get this there. And there's also the story mode that runs like ass. I heard the story mode does not run well. I even looked up clips as well. The story mode kind of hitches a lot, so there's that too. So the main focus of this game was just to get the fighting part right, but that also comes at the cost of, okay, Venom, Unica, Lucy, they will be heavily delayed on this version, which sucks for the people who bought the specific version. And it kind of drives the point home further that this is the Guilty Gear Strive Nintendo Switch edition. It's not just Guilty Gear Strive on Nintendo Switch. It's a specific version, like how Dragon Ball Xenoverse was on the Switch. This is a specific version for the game made for this specific console. It's not the main one that people have been playing since 2021, right? And now my guess is that they could do a Switch 2 version, right? Or do like a back port where like Skullgirls on the Nintendo Switch was basically a specific version for it, right? They basically nuked that version and just replaced it with the main Skullgirls game. So you didn't have to obviously buy the game again. It's just like there's a complete Skullgirls game where you can like get all the DLC characters and all the shit alongside the other versions. And I think that's cool, right? So that's my hope for this. Maybe they're just gonna like redo the whole thing, but I don't know. Maybe they're gonna make a specific Switch 2 version because technically it would just be Guilty Gear Strive again. Just that. But that'll also piss off a lot of people who bought that, specific port, like the $60 Guilty Gear Strive for Nintendo Switch. It'll piss off a lot of people, so they have to find a way to make a compromise. Or maybe they're just not gonna do shit at all and just let it go, which honestly will be a waste of money. They probably should just wait till the Switch 2 came out. At least if Guilty Gear Strive was like a complete version on the Switch 2, like how they're doing with Street Fighter 6 with the Year 1 and 2 edition. If they just had all the DLC together on Strive for the Switch, right? Then that would be like, I think that'd be a good version. And they just slashed the price, because like you could buy a base version of Guilty Gear Strive now for $40, right? The base version of Guilty Gear Strive without all the DLC and shit is $40. So if they could just do that with Strive and just like re-release the game and then slash the price, I feel like a complete version of Guilty Gear Strive on Switch 2 costing like $30 to $40 will be a steal. That's a steal. I thought the Switch version was a steal, but considering all the crap that they had to sacrifice in order to get it on there, I really think they should just probably just re-release the game and just drop the price heavily to get people to rebuy it, and it'd be a better version with all the stuff included, like, give it crossplay, give it team of 3, have all the characters released side by side properly, all that stuff. It would probably be easier that way.